Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Zay News Live, and welcome to this English news edition coming up in the next 20 minutes. Minister of Housing, Urban Development and the City, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, revealed the official dates of the distribution pre-allocation contracts of AADL Housing Formula Plus. In our evening news edition, we will look back at the major events highlighted the educational sector. And later on in our news program, we shed light on one of Algeria's touristic winter destinations, Taghit, the enchanting Sahara. Hello there, wherever you are. Thanks for joining us live on Zay News channel. First, in our top stories, Algeria has achieved conclusive victories against the remnant of terrorism in 2015. Many criminals were killed, huge quantity of weapons of war were seized, and many smuggling and organized crime rings were smashed. Its position regarding the fight against transitional terrorism have been reiterated worldwide. Kenifas Zakri.
The People's National Army has never communicated as much about its security operations as in 2015, highlighting the huge victories achieved in the fight against terrorism and cross-border organized crime. In September in Tamanrasset, an ordinary meeting of the chiefs of staff of the member staffs of the Joint Operational Army Staffs Committee allowed to know that since January 2015, 70 had been killed, 36 arrested, and 20 repented nationwide. During this period, 97 members of cells supporting terrorism were arrested, 225 weapons of war were recovered, 354 caches were demolished, and 830 homemade explosive devices were destroyed. As part of the fight against organized crime, 1,195 people were arrested and 314 weapons of war and quantity of ammunition were recovered. This commitment to combating terrorism has been reaffirmed on several occasions by Deputy Minister for the National Defense and Chief of Staff of the People's National Army, Lieutenant General Ahmed Gaid Saleh. Algeria's experience in the fight against terrorism, supported by the National Reconciliation Process launched in 1999, should be highlighted to the international community, which is facing more than ever the scourge of transnational terrorism. To that end, a presentation on the concept of de-radicalization and the fight against violent extremism was submitted to the United Nations. Presented in September by Minister of Maghreb Affairs, African Union and Arab League Abdelkader Msahel at the second summit on the fight against violent extremism. The document outlines the major measures taken by Algeria to combat the root causes of violent extremism and to strengthen peace and stability and boost economic and social development. Algeria has become a key partner in the fight against terrorism given its experience in the field, consulted by neighboring African and Arab countries and also by Western powers, which discovered belatedly the devastating impacts of the global threat. Algeria has made every effort in cooperation with its partners for the restoration of peace in the different hotbeds of tensions and crises due to war and terrorism.
Housing sector now. The Minister of Housing, Urban Development and the City, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, revealed in a press conference the official dates of distributing pre-allocation contracts of AADL Housing Formula. And while revealing more numbers of his sector's achievements, he stressed that his ministry is doing its best to fight delays, causes and bureaucracy. Kenifas Zakri again.
The government has launched its new agenda in the housing sector for the year 2016 after the outcome of an estimated 297,000 housing units in various formulas for the year 2015, and the data reflects the achievements of the sector coupled with the existence of some problems approved by the Minister of Housing and Urban Development and the City, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune. The latter sees the issues urgent, notably the closed workshops for social housing, whose deadline he extended until next March. There are many strict measures were taken against some construction companies which are making a great delay in their workshops. They are going to be blacklisted and banned from exercising this profession. However, there are many other companies which did catch up. We are waiting for the final assessments. We have an obligatory commitment to respect the deadlines. During his display of the housing sector's outcome for the year 2015, Tebboune admitted the fact that some managers are pursuing a bureaucratic policy in the rural housing formula, criticizing the registered delay of distributing 142,000 units instead of 195,000, vowing to exclude them.
Nous sommes tombés à ces chiffres. On avait en prévision 195 000 logements.
We came across these numbers, which indicate that we should have received 195 rural housing units for the year 2015, but we only obtained 142,000. So they only have 2 months to catch up. There are 147,000 first installments which weren't followed by the second. So this means that there is a bureaucracy and they are not doing their business properly. The bureaucracy has become fatal for these people. Anyways, the results are very positive for certain provinces where some showed catastrophic results. But later, they will be judged. With a reassuring language, the Minister of Housing promised to eliminate the housing crisis. As from the overall demands of 3 million, only 450,000 of them are left. The Minister also revealed the official dates of delivering the pre-housing allocation. The official deadlines are, first, the distribution of pre-allocation contracts of AADL housing formulas are going to be delivered in February 2016. For the subscribers of 2001 and 2002, whereas for the subscribers of ADL2 of the year 2013, they are choosing their sites starting from the 11th of March, and the pre-allocation contracts are delivered to them in the 30th of May 2016. The housing crisis has long troubled the Algerian government and weighed much on its budget. Yet with the completion of this housing program, the Ministry of Housing is officially declaring Algeria as the first African country free from slough housing very soon.
In education file, the year 2015 was certainly a major year for the education sector. With Ben Ghabrit appointed as head of the ministry, new procedures were adopted, fatal errors were made, resolutions for all phases were witnessed and strikes were curbed, pending to see what 2016 has in stores for the educational system. Hints Minaras.
Several events have highlighted the educational sector in 2015, most notably the National Assessment Conference of the Educational System that concluded with a bunch of suggestions, mostly agreeing on the reforms over baccalaureate degree. And of course, 2015 wouldn't be a year without the tensions usually witnessed in the education sector, mainly UMPF union versus strike, along with CNAPES union strike for 2 consecutive months. And since Ben Ghabrit has always believed that a quality education won't be achieved until all stability is recovered, she resorted to an ethical charter for the educational system, imposing on the 10 educational unions to abandon strikes and adopt negotiations as the most appropriate solutions. November 22nd was then a day to be remembered, where 8 unions out of 10 signed the charter. Although the relative calm only lasted for days before SNT union accused Ben Ghabrit of violating the charter when putting an end to educational workers' strike through police forces. Pedagogically speaking, 2015 was also the year of resolutions, like reducing failing percentage for all stages by including a follow-up exam for pupils with an average ranging between 9 to 9.99 for fundamental and secondary education and between 4 to 4.99 for elementary phase pupils. This procedure was followed by the decision to lessen tests and assignments for elementary phase. Regarding baccalaureate exams, Minister of Education Nouria Ben Ghabrit has adopted yet another procedure, that is cancelling PE test and replacing it with a continuous evaluation throughout the year. Speaking of baccalaureate 2015, it was the promo that made headlines, where teachers were decidedly replaced with a CD-ROM that includes all subjects as an intention from the ministry to curb CNAPES union strikes, altogether being a new policy for class recap. Hellas, Baccalaureate 2015 promo was also the promo of digital cheating, with the use of 3G technology in addition to the fatal error in the Arabic test, where an author was mistaken for another. For the first time since she was appointed as the head of the sector, Ben Ghabrit, on her part, accused provincial directors of bureaucracy, failure, and refusing to apply to her instructions, threatening by firing 20 of the latter herself. Many events were then witnessed in the education sector in which Ben Ghabrit could raise the challenge and fold a chapter of long-lasting strikes. Questions remain: what will 2016 have in stores for the education sector? And will Ben Ghabrit reach the ideals she has always dreamed of reaching?
Moving on to world news, on Friday evening, the Israeli occupation forces shot dead a Palestinian woman while she was driving her car near the main entrance of Silwad town. The witnesses added that the woman was not even speeding when the occupation forces opened fire on her car. She was identified as Mahdiya Muhammad Ibrahim Hamad, 38, a mother of 4 children. The death of Syrian rebel leader Zahran al-Loush is being seen a major blow to a tenuous peace process, with the opposition's interim leader warning that other rebel commanders and political opponents could also be targeted for assassinations. Al-Loush, the leader of the Jaish al-Islam group, was killed on Friday in an airstrike claimed by Syrian government forces. Jaish al-Islam is said to have named Abu Haman Budwaydani as the successor of al-Loush. In other Syrian developments, the expected evacuation of thousands of rebels from in and around Yarmouk refugee camp in southern Damascus has been put on hold. Safety issues and the killing of a top rebel have been blamed for the delay. About 18,000 civilians have been trapped in Yarmouk by the fighting and a government siege since 2012. IS insurgents took over parts of the camp earlier this year. Government forces maintain checkpoints around the area, preventing civilians from leaving. Iraqi forces have moved deeper into Ramadi, pressing an offensive to drive Islamic State insurgents from the city. Bombs and booby traps have been slowing their advance. Troops and Sunni tribal fighters were about 500 meters from the main local government office. They have taken control of several districts since launching the operation 5 days ago. Extremely warm temperatures and an unstable weather pattern brought tornadoes and flooding to Alabama, damaging houses and leaving hundreds without electricity. The storms that ravaged the state were the latest in a wave of severe weather that's hammered the south during a week. Several houses on the block had been destroyed and partially blown into the street today, Saturday. At least 116 homes have been destroyed in a bushfire that continues to rage along the coast of Australia's southeastern state of Victoria, but so far no deaths have been reported. Hundreds of families were evacuated from their homes and an emergency warning remained in place in Way River and Separation Creek on Saturday afternoon local time. A lightning strike is believed to have sparked the fires in Victoria about a week ago. They have since burnt more than 2,000 hectares. Authorities warned on Saturday that the fire risk in Victoria would continue over the next 2 months. As southern Australia bakes in summer heat, firefighters are continuing to battle the blaze. Dozens of people were feared dead in Myanmar after a landslide hit a major mining region. Working at a local mining firm said the second such incident in just over a month. The landslide took place on Friday in Habkant, between China and India, and the heart of Myanmar's multi-billion-dollar jade industry controlled by its powerful military. Moving on to other news, from the excitement of the Plato flyby to the discovery of new water on planet Mars. Without doubts, 2015 has been an outstanding year for science. Mustafa Hazzouk takes us back to some of the biggest science stories of the past 12 months.
2015 was a fantastic year for science, with some important advances made in cancer research, the environment, engineering and biodiversity. we will shed light on crucial discoveries that could change how you see the world. First, the imaginary meal pill, called Faxermin, has been developed by researchers at the Salk's Gene Expression Laboratory. It has the ability to prevent weight gain, lower cholesterol, control blood sugar, and minimize inflammation in mice, with plans for human trials to begin shortly. The pill works by making the body believe it has consumed calories, causing it to respond by burning fat, behaving in a different manner to other diet pills. Tesla is mapping out a future where it might eventually be known more for batteries than its luxurious electric cars. The automaker unveiled a suite of battery products in 2015, each geared for homes, businesses, and utilities. The home battery, a sleek, mountable unit dubbed Powerwall, is available and starts at $3,000, roughly 350,000 Algerian dinars. Almost half of the northern hemisphere of Mars was once covered by a large ocean that held 20 million cubic kilometers of water, more than the Arctic Ocean. NASA scientists highlighted how this discovery means that the surface of Mars may have been a more promising place for alien life than previously thought. Furthermore, these findings show that, unlike what was previously thought, the planet was once a warm and wet world. It took about a decade to get there, but NASA's New Horizons probe finally sent back our first good pictures of the former planet Pluto, but it had to navigate some trippy space weather to get there. NASA has released a simulation of the space environment all the way out to Pluto in the month surrounding New Horizons' July 2015 flyby. NASA notes that scientists at the Goddard Space Flight Center worked with the New Horizons team to test how well their models and other models contributed by scientists around the world predicted the space environment at Pluto. Growing veggies in space is now reality. Astronauts have made history by tucking into fresh food grown on board the International Space Station. A crop of lettuce planted in July was harvested from NASA's planned experiment system dubbed Veg-01 and enjoyed by the current ISS crew for the first time. Providing astronauts with fresh food is considered crucial for long-distance space travel, and today's landmark is a critical step towards NASA's manned mission to Mars. 2015, yet again, has been an outstanding year for science. As Richard Dawkins said, "Science is the magic of reality."
And finally these days, Taghit, a town in Bashar province western of Algeria, witnesses large turnout of tourists as it became their favorite destination for winter vacation because of its natural landscapes and convenient touristic services where families can spend great time under a warm sunrise in a lively atmosphere. Hinsman Ras.
Bashar's touristic sites are witnessing these days, unlike every year, this time an unprecedented turnout of tourists, since the region of Taghit is considered their favorite destination for winter holidays, given the stunning views it repels with and the comfy services the region offers. Taghit is an amazing place. There are these monuments. It's such a relaxing place. It's amazing. I've heard it's a beautiful place where people are welcoming, but in fact, it exceeded my expectations. I advise our youth to come visit the place, discover their country's natural resources here in the desert. It's really wonderful. This is the charming atmosphere in Taghit, where families are having a blast under the winter sun and over the golden dunes.
It just feels like home. My country is really rich.
Authorities concerned should promote tourism so families wouldn't go abroad for the holidays and remain in Algeria. There are nice hotels as well.
We were warmly welcomed. People here are friendly. They even invited us. I say, why go elsewhere?
Have you ever dreamt of a spring season that lasts all year long? Search no more, for it is always the case in the desert jewel Taghit, having become the most sought-after destination in the year 2015.
Reminder of our main top stories. Minister of Housing, Urban Development and the City, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, revealed the official dates of distributing pre-allocation contracts of AADL housing formula. In our evening news edition, we looked back at the major events highlighted the educational sector. And we have shed light on one of Algeria's touristic winter destinations, Taghit, the enchanting Sahara. The end of our English news edition. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.